Since I started streaming Fields of Mistria, I have not stopped hearing this. And this isn't new to me. I have had similar questions come into my streams no matter what pixel art farming game I'm playing, and sometimes even when it's a totally different graphical style, but almost always when I'm playing a new farming sim release. So today, I'm going to answer a few different questions in this video. The first one being, why is every single farming sim compared to Stardew Valley? But I'm just going to do a quick refresh on that because I actually have a full video on that if you want to check it out, as well as answering some new questions that have come up. Is it fair to compare new farming sims to Stardew Valley? And what does distinguish Fields of Mistria from Stardew Valley? But before we dive in, please be sure to subscribe to my channel for more cozy game content, news, update, videos, streams, and all the things. And also drop me a follow on Twitch and TikTok for even more cozy game content. Question number 1, why is every farming sim compared to Stardew Valley? The short answer to this is because Stardew Valley is such a well-known and well-loved game with now over 40 million copies sold. It is clear that a decade's worth of passion has been put into Stardew Valley, and Eric Barone, who is the sole creator of Stardew Valley, also known as Concerned Ape, was really able to take his ideas and create his own version of what a farming sim looks like. And this, in turn, has made Stardew Valley the huge success that it is today. Players have put hundreds of hours into doing 100% runs, getting different endings in the game, romancing different characters, and this popularity and replayability has created a hugely devout fan base for Stardew Valley, creating the Stardew bias, making Stardew Valley the easiest point of comparison for many players. Some players, this is the only farming sim they've ever known. Stardew Valley's popularity has led to people having very strong opinions on the game, making it really hard to put their bias aside and to embrace that new games are coming out, new experiences are to be had in the farming sim genre. Sometimes prevents the hardcore Stardew players from giving other farming games a try. So if you want to hear more on why I think so many people have this Stardew Valley bias, then you can check out my previous video, which I'll link up in the eye and put in the description below. But now onto question number 2. Is it fair to compare new farming sims to Stardew Valley? Now this is a loaded question and this can be hard to answer because there are many different ways to answer this. There's a lot to take into consideration. First of all, many of these new farming sims, such as Fields of Mistria, for example, have not been in development for nearly as long as Stardew Valley has, because Stardew Valley has been in development for nearly 10 years, and Fields of Mistria is an early access development on Steam, meaning it's currently receiving feedback from players to see how they can improve the game, and the devs are actively working on the game's full release to come in 2026. So essentially, Fields of Mistria isn't even a completed game yet, but they are still being compared. There are still so many questions about Fields of Mistria. Is it a copy? And this isn't just with Fields of Mistria. I remember this with Sunhaven, Roots of Pacha, and even Coral Island. So in that way, this is unfair to compare. I also think that it can be unfair to compare two farming sims and to claim that one is better than the other. When you're out there claiming this one's better, I just think it demeans all the work that has been put into these games. And so I'm very sensitive about that because ultimately it's just very subjective per person. Concerned Ape's original intentions with Stardew Valley was, and I quote, to address the problems that he had with Harvest Moon, as well as create more purpose with tried and true gameplay elements. And I believe that is exactly what many indie devs are actually trying to achieve with their farming simulators. Rather than trying to make the best farming sim, they're actually trying to expand on the elements that they feel intrigued by or want to give more purpose to. So is it fair to compare completely subjective gameplay elements? But what I do think is fair is genuinely wondering, is this game like Stardew Valley, for the purpose of wondering if you would enjoy the game based on if you liked Stardew Valley or if you didn't. But I also find myself struggling with whether or not people are approaching these new games with the Stardew bias. I find myself struggling to answer that question at times when people ask, because when I say yes, this game is similar to Stardew Valley, some people infer that that means that this game is a copy or it's identical to Stardew Valley, which is just not true. And if I answer no, well, that's also not true, because many farming sims have similar gameplay elements, including Fields of Mistria, and Stardew Valley was first inspired by Harvest Moon, but no one's really calling Stardew Valley a copy of Harvest Moon. So the answer is yes, it is fair to compare new farming games with Stardew Valley, provided that you don't allow the Stardew bias to let you write off new games in the genre simply because they share beloved elements of the genre of farming sims. Fields of Mistria may have similarities to Stardew Valley and other farming sims before it, but it also expands on the classic farming sim elements while adding new and unique gameplay experiences, and in no way is Fields of Mistria a Stardew Valley clone. Stardew Valley can be used as an unbiased point of comparison, instead of a way to write off the efforts of developers who have spent time and energy trying to create a familiar but fresh experience in the farming sim genre. So now we're going into question number 3. What does distinguish Fields of Mistria from Stardew Valley? And I did create a Venn diagram, which I'll put on the screen, and I also have many other points that I couldn't even fit on the Venn diagram, so just listen up. This section, though, is not meant to say, oh wow, Fields of Mistria is better than Stardew Valley, or vice versa, but rather it's meant to truly answer the question, what does make them similar and what does make them different? And to help Stardew Valley players who might be interested in Fields of Mistria to figure out, is Fields of Mistria right for them? I also asked my TikTok community for feedback on this very question, and so here are some of their takes on the screen. Rosa says, I think Fields of Mistria has more early game guidance. It also has a very different style and sense of humor. Stardew Valley is more challenging to get the hang of, but that's one of the things I love about it. Another comment reads, I like the stress of Stardew. I love the options of making money. Fields of Mistria is fun, but I got very bored. But I like the characters, they are more well-rounded in a fun way. Jess says, I would say that Stardew shines mostly in its complexity with items and producing stuff, whereas Fields of Mistria has such incredible characters that not only build bonds with you, but also each other. I love how much dialogue there is, it feels so fleshed out. So let's start first with the similarity. They are both classic farming sims. They're both inspired by farming sims of the 90s. They both have mining, ranching, fishing, farming, romance, cooking, festivals, combat. They both have pixel art. They both are life sims and RPGs. Both games can be modded. So keep in mind that although many of these games' mechanics and aesthetics can be changed by mods, that I'm specifically discussing the vanilla gameplay. Now let's pop into the differences. Many people described Fields of Mistria as a true cozy experience of a farming sim, where Stardew Valley can feel quite stressful or overwhelming to some players. Obviously though, cozy is subjective, so Stardew might be your cozy game, but the consensus seems to be that Fields of Mistria is quite approachable to those who are new to the farming sim genre or want something a little more laid back, and it has simplified many of the stressors that some players feel in Stardew Valley. Even Concerned Ape himself claims to never have labeled Stardew Valley as cozy or even referred to it as cozy, and you can hear what he says specifically in this clip.
Because there's a lot of games that copy your game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Stardew Valley version on space or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all these, you know what I mean? Do you like that? Because there's a genre of games now. I think they're called cozy games.
That's what people call it. I never call it.
You don't like that?
I never use that term.
Comfy or cozy? That's what they say.
Yeah, they call it that.
Yeah.
I might say the game has it has cozy atmosphere to it sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just think the whole, like, this idea that there's a genre called cozy games, and my game is one of those. I mean, it's a label that's been put upon me. I've never used it myself.
What would you call your game?
I mean, an RPG.
When I was grabbing this clip for this video, I actually ended up watching a little farther in and realized he actually discusses farming sim as a genre, which I thought would be helpful to include in this video.
But
You're not catching
to
one.
answer your question, I don't know. I'm like, I don't mind if people make, farming games. I think it's fine. It's like, it's a genre. I don't own the genre. The only thing that slightly bothers me is people like directly rip off things in Stardew Valley. And it kind of bothers me just because, like, I would like people to just be themselves and be authentic. Like, don't just copy exactly something in Stardew Valley.
I know.
The rest of the differences are in no particular order. I'm just going to run through them quickly. Stardew Valley has co-op. Fields of Mistria does not, but as it's in development, it could in the future, but right now it does not. Shops are always open in Fields of Mistria. You can go in at any time of day, any day of the week, but you cannot do that in Stardew Valley. Some days the shops are closed and they close at certain times of day. The color palettes in the games are vastly different. Fields of Mistria is far more pastel, while Stardew Valley is far more saturated. Even the way in which you originally obtain your farm is different, where in Stardew Valley it's handed down from your grandpa, and in Fields of Mistria, you accept an ad to move to a new town. The town and the townsfolk are different in this game, which means there are different romanceables in each game, different characters, obviously. Many of the things that people mod in Stardew Valley are actually already built into Fields of Mistria, such as a day lengthener, being able to walk faster, jumping, map showing NPCs, and more. Fields of Mistria has bug catching and diving, and Stardew Valley does not. Breeding animals in Fields of Mistria creates new color variants that you can collect, so it kind of has like a creature collecting element. There are many additional animal types in Fields of Mistria, a few of those being capybaras, alpacas, and more. Fields of Mistria seems to have a larger focus on the community, where NPCs have more unique dialogue. They even play D&D together at the inn, but overall, they feel more important to the game's main storyline. The festivals in the games are different. They have completely different and unique festivals. Stardew Valley has a fishing minigame, and Fields of Mistria has no fishing minigame. Fields of Mistria prioritizes character customization a lot more than I think Stardew Valley does. In Stardew Valley, it tends to be a little more difficult to complete certain quests than in Fields of Mistria. The items that are picked up in Stardew Valley reset every Friday, and in Fields of Mistria, they never reset. So you can come back to pick them up anytime. They'll literally always be there. The tracking of the quests in Fields of Mistria's UI is very, very organized. While there are ways to track your quests, the community center, and so on in Stardew Valley, they seem to be in different spots, and it just takes a lot of clicking through in Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley has a lot more content and end game content, making the game feel more well-rounded as it's far more developed than Fields of Mistria. Stardew Valley's main storyline is complete. Fields of Mistria's will not be completed until 2026. Fields of Mistria has 2 more major updates to go until the full main story is complete, but much development to come in the future even after 1.0. Stardew Valley also continues to be updated, and Concerned Ape has even mentioned that a 1.7 update is coming. And there are many, many, many more things that I've missed, and I'm trying to come at this with a balanced opinion, and please let me know what I've missed in the comments below, but let's have it be a healthy discussion. And it seems to me that a hardcore Stardew obsessor could continue to prefer Stardew Valley over Fields of Mistria because maybe they want a little more difficulty, whereas someone who's a little more low-key of a Stardew Valley player might enjoy Fields of Mistria for the simplicity, the new town, and the new take on a farming sim without many of the mechanics needing to be modded in because they're already there. And for those who like farming sims but could never really get into Stardew Valley, you might end up preferring Fields of Mistria for its more approachable gameplay that feels easier to grasp than Stardew Valley. So for a quick recap, every farming sim is compared to Stardew Valley. because Stardew Valley is the most popular farming sim out there and the easiest point of reference. Is it fair to compare new farming sims to Stardew Valley as long as you aren't declaring one is better than the other and you're able to see that new games can come into the genre and you're genuinely wondering what the similarities and differences are? And we went over what does distinguish Fields of Mistria from Stardew Valley, so I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for checking out my video, and hopefully I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Bye!